aired this program on Friday. Vitu ukuja ndio hatukuweza kuleta hii show, but we thank God that you're here and we believe it will be awesome. You will like it, so we're expecting your comment kwa Facebook yangu Salimasha, and I'm glad I have a wonderful guest, a co-host, really.
Thank you so much, Sally, for doing me the honor of being a co-host today. But I look so much forward to today's discussion because you want to know about the gay marriage. As you see, me, kijana mdogo, I'm yet to have a family, but I'm looking forward to learning a lot from today's show. Yeah.
Wow, welcome.
So you may ask, what are your expectations of today's show?
As per se, I don't have false expectations. It's not about me today, it's about our viewers, family, the center spoke. So I'm waiting to hear from you guys. Keep texting, keep commenting. Yeah.
Exactly, and they can also share what other topics they may want us to be talking about at the center spoke. Now, if you would also want to be part of the show, you can also tell us through the platform that we've provided. But as for today, we look forward to knowing, I feel like things have changed nowadays, Sally, because you meet that there are even those who are born again Christians who are marrying more than a wife. Things have changed. This is a tradition we've known Muslims with a lot. So, is it right or is it wrong? I think our guest will be
from our guest, yeah. So we want to know what is the ideal marriage. And one now to introduce our guests, and we start with you. Welcome.
Thank you, Sally. To our viewers, it's a hi to you all. And my name is Engineer Jacob Maina. And I'm born again, I thank the Lord. And I'm grateful to be here. Thank you, Sally, for your invitation in Center Spoke. I must of course say you people too are looking quite beautiful and quite smart. And that makes the whole thing also quite beautiful. I'm also anticipating a good discussion. I'm sure we shall be able to look into issues and eventually learn more from each other.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. So I'll get from that side.
Yes. Hello viewers. My name is Davis Gishoke, and I must say today that I feel so honored to be in the center spoke, so that we may try to discuss some of the things that I call them the written things against the actual things. So when we are here, we are going to talk about these things. And the reason as to why I call them so is because we have those things that we read in the books and we feel like they are the right things, but we also have those things that are done there on the ground. And today I'm so honored to be here to address such issues, talk about them with an open mind. Thank you so much.
Wow, we are happy to host you here. So, Jacob, what is the ideal marriage for you? Are you for monogamy or polygamy? Let's hear from you.
As I begin, I'm interested in the last point our other guest said, the written things versus the ground things. So kuna watu wanasema kwa ground mambo ni tofauti, lakini let's get to see it. But answering your question, for me, I'm in support, really, not really about me, but what I believe is in monogamous marriage, one wife, one husband. So I believe in monogamy. I don't believe in polygamy, or for the case of women, what we call polyandry. So that's it.
Yes. Okay, just coming back to what the clarification you wanted concerning the written against the actual. I'll just give one example of things that are written. The written thing is what you say and what you think about marriage. And in this sense, as if I heard you correctly, you are for the monogamous family, which is actually supported by most of us, and especially those of us who call ourselves church people. They are for the monogamy. But there are those of us, again, who are out there who don't feel like they should so much be restricted to monogamy. And I stand somewhere in between. The example I wanted to give is for example, we talk about smoking or taking drugs as a crime. And it is actually punishable even in the laws of the land. Now, but when you go out there, you get a very good percentage of our youth and even other people doing it either secretly, and to some extent you will find them doing it openly. So, taking bang out there is actual. It is what is happening in the ground. But in laws of the land and in our faiths, or what is written in our books, banging is bad. It's harmful. So now, when you come to marriage and try to argue about it in that line, you will tell me, or pastors there, preachers there, people out there, they will tell me that monogamy is the way to go as far as marriage is concerned. But what is happening out there? We are seeing people out there who okay, they have married one woman and they have kept the woman at home. When you go to the other side, you get the same people, and by the way, when they are in the open, they say, I love, in fact, what they say, I am a man of one woman, openly, out there, publicly. But when they go somewhere that we cannot see them, they got some side chicks out there. And my thinking, and why I fall, or why I support the polygamous kind of family setup, is to avoid such petty things. I call them petty because I do not believe a person like myself, who is a grown-up, who can do things independently. How do I do all other things independently, and when it comes to the kind of a relationship I want, I try to do them in a hidden way. So in that sense then, I would say, instead of making my wife happy by making him believe, or her believe, that I am the most faithful guy under the sun, I would just, I'm hypocritically making my wife happy. But hapo kando, I'm doing other things. So instead of doing so, just try to annoy your wife for a moment, but by telling her the truth about your status, or the preference, or what you would want your life to be. And with those few remarks, I beg to support a polygamous kind of family.
Before we go on, I would want to ask you, sir, what is your religion?
I'm a Christian.
And what does,
by the way, I'm a born again.
Okay, thank you. And what does your religion say about what you just said?
Now, okay. My religion writes. It has written in billboards and wherever, in books. And wherever you go and find a written thing from my religion, you will see them talking about monogamy as the way to go in as far as marriage is concerned. But my thinking is different. No matter how controversial someone may think I am, I tend to think that when you say that, when you try to discriminate a person in the name of being a believer, you discriminate those persons because they are in a polygamous. By the way, somewhere in America, in a state called Utah, they refer to it as plural kind of a family. It is pluralism in a family. So, and when they talk about it that way, and majority of the believers think that this is the right, they become brainwashed. You know, majority of us who goes to church find themselves being brainwashed by the preachers. They believe in preachers so much, and they kind of have given the preachers the mandate to read the Bible for them. By the way, let me tell you that it is not biblical to have one woman.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? Those very famous people or men of God, the likes of Elkanah, the likes of Abraham, the likes of Solomon, the man after God's heart by the name David, a mighty king he was. God never disowned them because they had many women. By the way, the Bible is the Christian's manual. The Bible is my religion's manual. But amongst the 10 commandments, there is no commandment that tells me that I go for one woman. The Bible talks about adultery, and that is a different thing altogether. But my God, the God I believe in, did not disown those great men of his because he thought that they are sinners because of having many women. And if need be, we will refer to such people in the Bible. Men that were so great, men that were so famous, we read about them today. We talk about them as being our role models, and we want them to be our kids' role models. But these guys had many women.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So you're talking about Moses.
Yes.
No, Abraham,
Yes.
David, the likes of Solomon.
Yes.
But do you think those people, hakuna mtu mwenye alipata mabibi wawili according to God's what? Purpose? Because if you look back to the Bible, Abraham alioa, si kuoa by the way, alilala na mjakazi wake kwa sababu alikosa kugoja Mungu. Number 2, if you talk about David, alifanya mpaka kuua mume wa mtu ndio aoe. Na hiyo kitu ilifanya Mungu akakasirika sana. So we've got those examples, na every example haionyeshani that God was for it. It doesn't make it right. Yeah. So
now you are getting back to where I was when I said the written against the actuals. God wasn't happy about, for example, King David because of killing a woman by the name of Bathsheba. I mean, Uriah. The man was Uriah, and the reason as to why the king killed Uriah, the man who was the husband to Bathsheba. So they have chosen, because they do not want to get discriminated in the church, they get side chicks. You get a woman out there. By the way, how can kwa nini wanawake wanakubali kufichwa kama bagi, by the way? And instead of that, why don't we make this issue even in the church? Why don't we make this discussion a conversation? Because it is not ending anytime soon. It is not ending anytime soon. Now, if it doesn't end, and and the church blocked that man from doing anything in the church, how do you expect the ending of the person concerned be? What I'm trying to say is this: whether we like to believe it or not, whether we want to take it or not, it will not matter how many summonses, how many keshas, how many crusades we shall hold. This thing is not ending. And because of this, I want us to make it a discussion, or my request or my suggestion would be, we make it a discussion if the church or the holy places should allow this kind of a setting so that we can save some of our men.
Allow me to get at you before you go on. There's somewhere you said that God created man as a plural, as you said it,
Yes.
as a plural of male.
Yes.
What is your supporting statement in that? Because you said
In as far
God.
as that one is
Yeah,
concerned.
you said God.
Yes.
So, supporting.
Okay, now I will use the words of my brother there, that we may not have it clear cut, but from the way you see it from the beginning.
From the beginning, which is Adam.
By the way, let me inform you something. I'm sure majority of us here may not have that information. What the point at which God came to say that let's create, initially God had created a man and a woman. All right? At that point, he did not tell the other congregation that this man is not good for this man to live alone. Ama sio vizuri mtu huyu aendelee kukaa peke yake. When God was doing his first creation, though some of the scholars try to create it, that it was the first and the second creation, because there is something they do not want to dig into. In the first instance, God created a man and a woman. Because of things that happened out there that many of us may not understand, because they are even not recorded clearly in the Bible, the man became lonely, because the woman with who they were created at the same time disappeared.
Come again. Where is it written?
Now,
Disappointing.
now, when that happened, man became lonely. Right? He was used to staying with a woman called Lily.
It is in the Bible.
Not him.
Listen, there was a woman called Lily. And though the Bible calls him, the woman was demonic. So kind of she disappeared and was nowhere to be found. Then God saw this man is getting lonely. It is then. And by the way, you people are not trying to dig deep. Now, kwa nini Mungu alisema, wakati Mungu alisema it's not good for this man to be alone or to be lonely, wakati alimuumba or wakati alitengeneza Eve from the rib, the man at his celebrations, unajua vile alisema, nyama kuma nyama-ini ciakwa, mahĩndĩ kuma mahĩndĩ-inĩ makwa. What does that one tell you?
Tell us.
there was someone else who had not come from the limb. There was someone else who had not come from the flesh. All right?
And where are you getting that?
Now,
You've got even the name.
Unajua what the church does, eh? It doesn't allow us to dig information because they kind of think we will get misguided. But there are those of us who try to get such information. All right? Na nitakusomea. Okay, I may not exactly read a verse of the Bible because even in the Bible it's not recorded. You will hear the church asking me, where are you getting your information from? If you go and try to look who was a Lily or who was the Lily, you will hear it say Lily is a demonic figure in Judeo-Christian mythology, supposedly the primordial she demon and alternatively first wife of Adam. Right?
Where is that?
Now, she is first mentioned in biblical Hebrew in Isaiah 34:14. And later, in late antiquity, in Madayan, whatever, mythology, and in Jewish mythology. These are sources from other
Okay.
areas.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
When God created Eve from Adam, or rather when the serpent deceived Eve, and they hid when they had God come.
Yes.
They hid because they were naked.
Yes.
And there's somewhere still in the Genesis where it says that God told man to go and reproduce, right? So it means even if there was another bit, I didn't get her name very well. It means they were not having the relationship that a man and a wife
That's the intimacy.
Meaning there may have been a woman, but this woman was not created as the wife to the husband. If I get your...
Now, did you hear what I read?
Yes.
She was what? To Adam?
But what is your supporting evidence?
What I have just read.
How sure are we?
Now, the reason as to why I think about, by the way, okay, when this woman disappeared, realities, unajua, these things we get them from written sources. It is from the written sources. There are so many things. By the way, there is a place in the Bible where somebody said that there were so many things that Jesus did, but they could not fit in a book. That one tells you that there are so many things that we still don't know, don't understand, have not read, because they have not been recorded. So some of these things, because of them not having very good support, either from the Bible, from the kind of teachings we get, they were there. They were there. And this woman is the woman that God created a man. All other creation, unaona hawa wanyama wengine walikuwa wanaumbwa male, female, male, female. He did the same to the man. Yes.
If I can ask you a question
Yes.
before we give you a daughter to maybe changia. There is this time when God, at the time of Noah,
Yes.
watu waliambiwa waingie wawili wawili. Even at that time, you want to tell us God again was confused. Because he said you should, Noah and the wife, the sons and their wives,
yes,
and everything else. Walikuwa wanaingia pair. Yes. So again,
And another thing to add,
yes.
Eve was the woman that was created by God for Adam. Sorry. So, how do you think that? Because if she had another wife, it tells us that if you have any other person aside from what God has has designed for you, that's a demon.
But demon.
It's not from God.
But there is this kind of are you done?
Yes.
There is this kind of an argument that should linger to each one of us. Eh? By the way, I thank God for giving me this chance to discuss a very unpopular kind of discussion. Because it is calling for a lot of energy to convince anyone, especially Sally. Now, one thing, well, let me go back to where you said about God getting confused when he did not tell these guys to go to the ark, to enter the ark with 2 women or more than 1 woman. He said one. He said 1 woman because that woman was the one who was available at that time. Kama ni Seth alikuwa na bibi yake mmoja at that time, right? Kama ni Shem alikuwa na bibi yake mmoja at that time. So it was not the creation or the thinking of God, as my brother had said before. It was not his thinking or his, it was not in his making that this woman, it is too necessary for a man to have more than 1 woman. But when it happened, he did not contradict the same.
So all along, you know, it's not good to have 2 wives.
As long as God did not contradict it. Because, you know why I'm saying this? Most of those favorite guys wa Mungu hawakuwa na bibi mmoja. And by the way, wacha niwaambie hapa saa hii, there has never been a better time for a guy to have more than 1 woman like now.
Why?
You know why? You know why? In our generation, mabibi ambao tunaoa kind of sijui nini iliwaingia, wanakataa kupata watoto. How many kids did Jacob have?
7. No.
They were 12.
Yeah.
They were 12. Alikuwa na watoto wa Leah, who was the wife of deception. Unajua alidanganywa na nani? Na Laban.
Yes.
Akafanya kazi tena miaka ngapi? Lakini hata alipodanganywa hakukataa. Unaona? So aliendelea. In the meantime Rachel akuje. Wakati Rachel alikuja, wakakuwa wangapi? Hawa mama, wakati baba yake alikuwa anawapeana officially kwa Jacob ndio wa sasa watoke waende, kila mmoja alikuwa na maid wake. Maid mmoja alikuwa anaitwa Bilha na maid mmoja mwingine alikuwa anaitwa Zilpa. Right? Wakati walienda na wakakuwa sasa wanaishi wanawake 4 na Jacob na watoto wao, kuna time ilifika Leah and Rachel started competing in the name of attracting the love of their husband, and the way the thing they used to do that is bearing of children. So Rachel tumbo yake ilikuwa imefungwa na Mungu with his own resource. Sasa wakati aliona hapati mtoto, alipatiana maid wake. Akaambia mzee, enda na huyu msichana mniletee mtoto. That's what happened. Wakati naye Leah aliona vile Rachel amefanya, alifanya nini? Alienda akaambia yule wake, na wewe enda kwa mzee, nileteeni mtoto. So Jacob had 12 sons and I think 1 daughter. Alikuwa Dinah from 4 women. That one did not change the favor that God had for Jacob. Why did I say that there is no better time of guys getting more than one woman like now? Ni kwa sababu the ladies we have nowadays wanapata ngapi? Kamoja, tuwili. Ukianza kung'ang'ana, anaenda anakustaki kwa in-laws ati una sijui those kind of things, eh? And because we want to pull our genes, what do you expect us, or what do you expect of us getting another lady there out there? No. Yes.
Let's hear what Jacob has to say.
Quite interesting. I want to begin by saying, of course I'm again guided by the Bible. I want to get back there and say, all scriptures are inspired by God. The Bible says, the sacred things belongs to God. What He has made known, ni yetu na watoto wetu. I know we say ni mambo mingi Yesu alifanya haikuandikwa. Whatever is written is what is inspired for us.
Sure.
Whatever is not written is not inspired for us to read and to live by. God knows we are His children. He knows what is best for our intake, for life to be good. You understand? So, for me, I choose to believe Adam had one wife. Why? Any other information that comes out of the Bible is not inspired, not necessary. It is sacred. If it was not inspired to be read, I should not necessarily believe it. You understand my point? So radically I can say that I don't need to believe in that information when it comes to matters faith that is written somewhere else. If it is not inspired, I'm not pretty sure whether it's even correct from whoever has brought the research. Understand? So when we talk about Adam and his wife, and we talk about him having been created, and we have the wife, the flesh from my own flesh, the bone from my own bones. I think before we get into a revelation, we need first of all to take it literally, as it is, before we get a deeper revelation. Because at times we will read the Bible, try to get it too much revelation, we lose the first meaning, and then we will get a meaning out of overthinking. Understand my point? What am I trying to say? When Adam says, this is the woman, or the flesh from my own flesh, literally is the flesh from her own flesh, his own flesh. He alikatwa, ikatolewa, literally. When it comes about the bones, the bone from my own bones, literally, before we get into deeper revelation, that is what it is a bone from my own bones. I don't need to try and overthink so much, try to think there was someone else who was not from my own flesh. You understand? Because if we look at it that way, there are things we say today that if people would overthink about them, they would quote us and say, you say this. So I think there is someone else whom is on the other side that you didn't say. But you choose to believe that first message. You understand? So, I want to say, the best way to understand His Word of God is just, I know there is a lot of information we can do and a lot of research, but we need to give a priority to what is written to us, for it to form our belief system and to guide our actions. Let me put some few points in support of monogamy. Going back there, in the written, and I said, it is hard for people to act if they have nothing they have heard, they have read, they have seen. A baby will act after they are born because they are shown something. It's something that is seen by the eye that gives the message, and then the baby acts. So my point is that it is very important that we understand when it comes to hii mambo ya ndoa na nini, kama hiyo iko written vile nilisema, should be not be taken abstract, ya kwamba there is what is written and actual. If you look at the actual, even if it is evil, there is what has guided the evil as form of information. You understand? But I want to say, going back in support, you go back to the book of Malachi, chapter 2, verse 14 down there, and you realize God is actually rejecting some offering from a man. He's saying husbands has betrayed their wife of their youth, and by that I will not accept. Or he feels, the Bible says he fails to consider the offering because of betrayal of the first wife. Again, if you go to the Bible, there is several quoting of the Bible where it is in singular, leave alone now getting into the plural life. Maybe to quote a few, you realize, as I said, it is not good that a man should be alone. I will make him a helper. So, my question again goes, why did God not think of helpers? Why did God not think of helpers? Then again, you realize in the book of Proverbs 18, he who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Not wives.
Not he who finds wives. And again, when we talk about polygamy in this setup, we might not be looking this we may not be placing this discussion very fair. If we want to accept polygamy, then we should accept polyandry, where women also can belong to us and belong to other men. But again, men don't want women to belong to other men and still belong to them. Again. I still would want to wrap it up at that point of whether a woman is a thing. Of course, it's not the topic of the day, but my opinion is that a woman is not a thing. And even if a woman would be a thing, if we would take the example of the beginning of the creation and say that a woman is the flesh from, we say that we take the scenario of Eve and Adam, then that thing was removed from another bigger thing, which was Adam. So I would say, if we were to believe in that the woman one marries is the one God has created for them, then that is, we can say that woman is a thing, fine. Then the man is the other thing that thing was removed from. So, but let me move on. There are some few points, of course, I would want to put across concerning the monogamous family. Why I support kind of marriage setup. I would say, as I said, there is undivided intimacy. There is undivided intimacy. So, if people would be disciplined, I tend to think the whole matter is not that big. There is a point with my brother said that man is created monogamous, and he said that just like the lions and the rest, so is the man in the house, and that one is not an exact thing. There are areas these people resemble, because that's a male, this is a male, that's fine, that's no problem, these are males, but that is a male animal, hayawani, mnyama aliye na fikra. By your standard, even if we would go medical, the IQ is totally not the same. You understand? The brain capacity is totally not the same. the ability of decision making is not even comparable. A human being is another serious brain. The brain of a human being cannot be compared with any other male. So the male human being is not comparable to any other male, only in the aspect of it being a male. But in the aspect of brain capacity and decision making, totally different. So what I would say, that there is undivided intimacy. Both partners, the wife and the husband in a monogamous family, they're able to get satisfied of their intimacy without a lot of division, you know. But in a polygamous setup, let's imagine you have 3 wives. You know, unless we want to imagine that this thing is perfect. The thing is, if you have 3 wives, you got to divide yourself amongst them, because they don't have 3 husbands. You are the one. You got to divide yourself amongst these people. They need to get a portion of you, a portion of your intimacy, a portion of your intimacy. And that is where you need to realize, when in Kikuyu we say that marrying 2 wives ni nyongo yorogi. Ya kwamba getting more than 1 wife is trouble. You bringing trouble in the house. You understand? So you realize, when you have more than 2, they will all want to share you. So there will be, whether you like it or not, there will be some competition that will build up between these 3 people.
And let me tell you something. I want to inform you something.
Yes.
Mr. Jacob. One, your namesake Jacob the biblical was a polygamous family, was a polygamous guy.
Yes.
And there is power in the name. You may find yourself being
Of course I
polygamous. Now the other one, the other thing that I would want to put across is this issue of animals and whatever, and trying to think that animals are, the human being IQ is higher than that of the animal. But I want to tell you that when it comes to things that happen in the body, a man ceases to be a man. I mean, a human being ceases to be a human being, and that's why you have some changes. When you see a woman, when you see a beautiful lady, those things, the reactions that do happen. In that sense, then a man stops being a human being and he becomes just like the other male in the lion. And there is something else that you talked about, unfairness in the thinking that a man should not think that it's good to be a polygamous. Then you do not agree a woman to be a polyandry. There is this behavior of animal kingdom or animals. Mimi ninaelewa kabisa. The male I see in an animal is the same male I see in myself. So in that sense,
but in yourself,
in myself and other men.
But you've got the Bible,
the consciousness.
God has given us self-control.
Yes, that
so
one.
We are not like
that one I agree. That one I agree. That so, and I mentioned it earlier that the difference between a man and the lion, a geshogo at home and whatever, is the self-control. And that's why you don't do it anywhere. Right?
So you can also control yourself not to do it.
Not to imagine many wives.
Now, if you have self-control, why do you want to apply self-control partially? You don't want to apply it. You know, it means, look. If you know you cannot do it openly, and you know you can do it secretly,
and that is the part of the self-control.
It still tells you, you can also use the self-control to even say no to it and not do it. Why do you want to use this self-control as if it is not enough, so it can only be used in secret, but it cannot be used to say no?
Saying no to it, honestly, it's self-illusion. That is illusion. It is not possible.
I don't think it's self-illusion. You want to tell me since the world was created, there are no men who have died having married one?
Why?
To the end?
But I have a question to you. What about this man who has been seduced? Who has been seduced by a lady? He tried his best to say no with all the self, because it seems like we are basing all our argument on this man who is not able to control him. What about the lady? This man who has been seduced, because ladies can bring in the man down. If a lady says she's bringing you down, she can. What about Satan?
Let me say something. Actually, I will say it here because I don't feel. When you decide to say no, but let us not think. No, you know we can treat this thing as if there is a way out, and there is a way we can bend it to suit us because we are men. There is something we want, and because we want it, we need this thing to look like. What am I trying to say? Personally, I believe you can say no. Why do I say that? Personally, I've been tested, as you say. A lady wants me. I feel I will not do that. She calls me, she is from Nairobi. She gets to my place in Karatina. It's already late, there are no vehicles to go home. I feel fine, but I decide today, when I say no is a no, and she comes to my house. We slept in the same bed. She's not my sister. We've always chatted and done so many things, talking. She came, we slept, never touched her. She went home in the morning. So, if one person fails in a certain area, that is failure by his own decision and deciding. Not necessarily because he belongs to the animal kingdom and he cannot control that.
If what you're telling us is anything to go back,
Yes.
which I highly doubt. Like
The good thing is that you doubt, it's not that you refuse.
I won't say with a lot of authority that it didn't happen or it happened because evidence will be required. But
The good thing is that the horse's mouth is saying,
if whatever, if that is not public relations, yeah. Now, what I want to say is this: if whatever you are saying is true, these are the kind of cases we refer to as 1 in a million. If it is true what you are saying, that a lady comes, sleeps,
yes,
now
goes to bed in the morning,
they are
she
the,
comes
they are
and
the
she goes
cases
home.
that we treat as special cases. You see the special cases, that one is among them, is amongst them. Because myself, you see here, and I will say here facing that camera, which is my camera. I cannot be in the same bed with a woman a whole night and nothing happens. I tell you, that will be the lie of the highest order.
Please,
Now,
before you continue, why?
Now,
Why do you feel that way? It's just a belief system.
I wouldn't even understand why.
No, it's a
You have
belief.
Like,
It's a belief.
I mean, just by that feeling.
No.
I mean, let's be honest. And I'm talking about myself. I see your case is 1 in a million.
Yes.
Mine, from the horse's mouth, it cannot happen.
And by the way, biologically, I'm very normal.
Now, it is 1 in a million. Now, that's why I am putting the man in that category of other males. There is this issue of polyandry. Polyandry is the marriage between one woman
Many husbands.
and many husbands. That one is, it can happen if a woman chooses to go that route.
And then we'll go calling her all sorts of names.
All sorts of names, and we in fact will. It is the Samaritan woman. We will name her the Samaritan woman. But it is possible. It happens. It honestly happens. You have heard of a few of them doing the same thing. But there is this thing that was put by God in a man of marking the territory and that kind of owning. And that's why you don't see human male doing that. I was once watching a documentary that involved the lions, the cheetah, and those even dogs at home. There is this behavior you see them trying to urinate somewhere because they want to mark that territory, right? That the food within the territory is theirs, in the family. The women around that area is theirs. And if another one happens to come, it is killed, true or false. That is the same thing with us here.
I think that is very false.
But
No, you cannot equate. You cannot, just allow me, Sally. You cannot equate that kind of a behavior with a man. Look, if you want us to go that direction, the dog does not drive, the dog does not buy a house, the dog, wait. There are so many other differences between a human being and animals. Wait just a minute. So when we say that an animal marks its territory, that is the behavior of a certain animal that is not necessarily to be equated with the human being's behavior, though they belong to the human. Wait, the reason I'm saying that, the human being way of doing things is so high such that the human being knows that my performance as a man can be gauged in better ways than women. Uhuru Kenyatta, and allow me to quote maybe say the president, he knows he is powerful, not because he has many wives, but he has marked his territory by rising into the power, leading the nation. He has a territory to rule, but not marked by number of women.
I want us to remain here on matters that touches our sex, on matters that touches our intimacy, on matters that touches our feelings in as far as the other gender is concerned. When we stick there, we will all agree here that a man deep within will behave the same way that other male out there behaves, when it comes to the women, when it comes to the ladies, when it comes to the wives. Now, there's something I want us to look at here, and I will say this as I try to conclude my opinions and my stand on this topic. There was a time earlier that I said that women of today, I don't know, they will tell us why they fear so much giving birth to kids. And one thing that makes a man get married or marry is to have kids or to pull their genes. If a woman will come to my place and authoritatively say that I can only give you one kid, I have a million reasons to get another woman because I want to pull my genes. And by the way, a man has been created to reproduce. If you block the man from reproducing, that you are doing unfair.
Wait.
To the man.
Wait. If you say a man
can't I finish my points? And then you come with a rejoinder. Now, I want to give some few advantages of being in a polygamous polygamous setting. Number one, polygamy can be a status symbol. Those are pros. Number two, in a polygamous family, because of that competition you see, the one you call divided intimacy, that competition is usually very healthy. Because see, you hear the story of Rachel. The story of Rachel and Leah of competing who gets many children and who does what, gives the man a feeling of a king. And there is nothing else that I require on this earth. Honestly, I want to feel like a king. That competition of ladies wanting to make me happy and it is what I want.
What
That
about
is what I want.
the women that you're married to? Are they feeling the same feeling?
Now, will I care? I don't think I need to care.
You should.
Because somebody will call me selfish when I say that it is about my happiness. It is about my joy. How they get their happiness out there will remain their business, not mine. Right? The other thing.
A question.
Yes.
Before you go to the next
Yes.
point.
Yes.
The Bible says, man, you should love your wife. I'm a man, you should love your wife.
Yes.
So, do you want to tell me it is possible
To
to
love,
love
and
two
not to care.
people? Yes, to love two people at the same time with the same what? With
The same love.
Yes.
And even as he answers, I also want to answer. He says a man should not care, but he says a man should love. So can you try to help me where care is?
This is where
loving,
the distinction
loving.
is. Loving and caring.
Can a person who is uncaring be said to have loved someone?
Let me tell you one thing. When it comes to a man, this thing you call love, na niwaambie hata haikuangi. Haikuangi.
A statement that is very...
Now, love, hiyo ni yangu. That one is mine because it's my personal view. What rules that kind of accepting when it comes to a man? It is what they get from that woman. And it is guided by how you feel or how the behavior of your body. And it has happened before. What you are telling us now at in love, because you can only express your love to your woman by marrying her alone. You ni uongo. And that is why I say,
But that is why
let us not lie to our women that we love them by telling them that they are the only women in our lives. That is a lie. You know why? It is why you are seeing people killing each other because of what they purport, or because of the purported hiyo kitu ya kudanganywa kwenye ndoa. So when a man goes out and lies with another woman, then the wife realizes, the wife starts contemplating eliminating the man. Now, to avoid this kind of a scenario, the best thing to do is to make the wife aware. It may not be so appealing at that point. It may not be so appealing, but just, by the way, they are our mentors at Matthew. They are mentors to many people. To many people. They are mentors to millions. There is this other guy called Wajoroge. After seeing how this kind of illusion is the route it is taking them, they came out openly. The wives did not take it. In the first place, they did not embrace. But some of the most admirable kind of accepting is that of Joroge. The one you see a woman and another woman celebrating birthday together with their husband. I wish I can find myself at such a position.
I'll need to come in. So that
I know you will bring the issue of sijui responsibility, sijui the issue of what else?
Let me just bring it because you forgot.
Yes.
Number one, I need to object kidogo, then give some few advantages. Very fast. Number one, when you say that women of these days don't want to give birth, of course, that is not true. That is just an assumption. Currently, if you do your research, you still find women who are giving birth. Does it mean that they are of the past moment? Just wait. I have a friend who is a man of this current generation, he has a wife, several kids. You know, just one wife, several kids, he has enough money. He is a churched person. He is able to balance his life accordingly. You understand? So the statement that women of these days don't want to give birth may be based on 1-2 women there, but they do not literally represent the whole generation. There are so many other women who are giving 2-3 kids. You understand? The other thing, wait. You told me to give you time. The other thing, when you say that as a man, if your woman is not ready to give birth, you go to another woman, then you again bring down your power as a man to become the king to this woman, to convince her to give you more kids. Have you now felt lesser that you opted out? You know, anytime you opt out of something, you feel your power is down to do the convincing. So if a man is man enough, they should be able to convince the so-called ladies of this generation to be able to give you more kids. Because you are the king. You said you want to feel like a king, yes. Right? If you want to feel like
so many women.
No, wait. That's okay. For him, for me, no. You want to feel a king if you are a king enough. And this lady, you are in charge. You lead her. You even call her property. Then we should be able to see your influence of this king, on this woman, and give you even more kids, so that you don't opt out to look for an option.
No.
And I needed to give some few things, because there are points I think will get lost, and I wouldn't want them to. I said, there's another thing. In a monogamous family, if you check properly, it offers a peaceful atmosphere of parenting. You understand? Where there is unnecessary competition and unnecessary strain of the resources, look at finances and so many other things. When there is unnecessary competition, you get people will fight for these resources. When they fight for these resources, their bringing of these kids is with a lot of feuds and with a lot of disagreement. They will not come up as any other kind of a kid.
And that's why you are a man.
No, you know, you're not.
To make that, to control that kind of a scenario.
Can you go back to history? How many men have been able to bring up very successful?
Jacob.
Just a few.
Jacob, your namesake.
You know, that is one.
Abraham.
And if you dig deeper,
Esau.
If you dig deeper, you will still find.
Elkanah was the father to Samuel, one of the favorite prophets.
If you go to the history of these people, you will still find the effects of those polygamy things.
But that one does not explain. Or don't you see? Haven't you seen such crisis in what you call your dear monogamous family?
If I may chip in as we go through, I think my pastor once told me that cosa sio cosa ni kutia cosa. I think the problem with what I find in polygamy is you are doing it to soothe your ego. But all the people that you are talking about, unajua, if you make a mistake and you correct it by saying, I have had a relationship with this person and I don't want to just act like a hen would do and not take responsibility. If you are telling us that you made a mistake and then you came and found out that I need to take responsibility, that is why I chose to marry this, I think we would be on the same page. Another thing, I want us to look at this question. What about a man who has had a relationship with a lady and he finds out that this lady is pregnant and this man has a wife, and he decides to marry her to correct what he has done. Maybe the lady doesn't have anywhere that she can go. How do you handle such a case?
Did I get your question right?
Yeah, okay. A man has had a relationship outside his marriage, with a lady, and this lady is out of options. Maybe she has been sent away from home, she can't go back to school, but this man is willing to take her as a wife.
As a second wife.
Yeah, as a second wife. So,
a man
out
has gone out.
Out of circumstances. What would you take that?
A man has gone out, has impregnated a lady.
Yes.
the lady has no other options,
Yes.
and the man wants to take in this lady as a wife.
Yeah.
So you're asking me what I would.
Yes.
Then you give the advice.
Yeah, give the advice to somebody.
Quite interesting. Let me say this.
As we conclude.
As we conclude.
And I have one point to make, because yes.
As we conclude about that issue of that man. Number one, the man went out of the wedding impregnated a lady. That's a sin.
But he realized his mistake, that's why he is ready to.
Regardless, it is. You understand? We have first of all to accept. Let us, we might look at that and we forget to guide our people, and because we want it, no, that's first of all is a sin. Understand? He made a sin by impregnating that lady out of, wedlock. Understand? Then the man, the lady want to come in to belong to the man. You understand? I don't know how that would be. Sally, what do you think?
I know what you want to say. You want to say it's okay. Because then, if you don't do that, that's what people call an tragedy. Because, he committed a sin, as you say. Because he has impregnated a woman.
That is a treacherous act. It's actually betrayal
Now,
of the other woman.
Now, and this analogy must change. This analogy, hii ya kusema ati is betrayal, that one must change. And if it doesn't change,
you had a covenant with your woman in the first place. When you are going out, you should tell her.
Let me ask something here.
But
And another thing,
to correct his mistake.
another thing. Mungu
By the way,
mwenyewe, kwanza Mungu mwenyewe anasema, I'm God, I'm very jealous. I don't share my glory with anybody. And that is God. What of us, women? I'm here, you married another woman somewhere else. So at times you not even come at home. Na unataka nilale, uende ufanye hizo vitu you have. Ulale na huyo mwanamke mwingine. The next minute you are at my place. And
So,
you expect to enjoy it.
If he doesn't marry this lady,
Let me.
Where do you want
wait,
to
let me answer that question. For me, I will say this. It's not just a discussion for a week.
Yes.
I will say, let the man marry the lady. But remember, he is going to live with that mess because he messed up. But by messing up, it does not mean that we have now agreed that what he is doing is right. He is just taking responsibility of his own mistakes. If he didn't do the mistake, there was no responsibility to take. So avoid the mistake not to try and do something to fit your circumstance. You get my point? This polygamous kind of a setting because you impregnated a lady does not justify polygamy. It is just a sin you did. You are taking responsibility. It is not necessarily polygamous marriage. It is a repercussion of your own mistakes. Live with them, take charge of them, get the pain just because you did the pain. You did the mistakes. Because we won't again. Hatutakubali tena ufukuze msichana wenyewe ndio aende
Naweza take responsibility ya mtoto, but because
of course that will depend on the agreement.
And by the way, one of the
bad in fact. If you do that, you are very bad.
So I'll have to live with this woman again.
Exactly. That was your own.
You will not have you will not have to leave. It will depend on the agreement. The woman also has a brain, even that one that has a kid. If she doesn't want to get married to you, you can't marry her by force.
But if she wants, you have to carry her.
This is my conclusion remarks. If the woman you call your wife today isn't the woman of your youth, because maybe you had 2, 3, 1 before you came, ile tunasemanga you kissing a lot of frogs. You are definitely a polygamist in the spiritual realm because you made a covenant. And we are victims, we are almost, all of us, we are victims of such.
That is a debatable
Anything
thing.
else?
All of us is a debatable thing.
Anything else?
No, we cannot
Because
allow
you want
you.
to please
We
people.
cannot allow you to put every man in your basket.
No.
Not every man have had so many relationships.
Now,
For information,
Yeah,
for information, even if we would generalize like that.
you.
I don't know. I'm not
No, wait.
happy.
For information, many people think that high schoolers must have some relationship. University people, some of us were so lucky and focused that we went through that. And as he finishes, it's important I put this. Even as we conclude, I think I can put it as my conclusion, then he can conclude. Let me say this.
But you've not
For every man,
you didn't allow me to do
for
my-
every man, for every man, what will make a man be with so many women sometimes is when a man is not at work. When a man is not having a big vision enough for their life. You understand? Where do you get time for 20 women and you have so much of a great vision for your life? Then you don't, you are so idle because David refused to go to war. He sent somebody. So he refused to be responsible, to be at work. To be at work, to be at war. So when he was left, when a man is idle, you will get so many women. You understand? So I will advise young men out there as a leader of the youth. Please, go to work. Don't say the government has no work and there are no opportunities. Engage yourself, be busy. Then also draft a huge vision for yourself. It will give you engaged, and you will try even to engage 2 wives. It will be so hard for you because there are so many other areas you need to engage. As a matter of
Solomon was
fact,
a mighty king.
wait, as a matter of fact, Solomon was a mighty king, very rich.
Despite many wives,
And at the end, he actually realizes it was all vanity. Those things were not necessary.
Abraham never stopped becoming the champion of faith because of having sexual intercourse and
No, don't say that. There were repercussions.
The man
No.
after God's own heart. Elkanah remained
Wait.
God's favorite
I know
prophet.
you are quoting those people, but you are not telling us the other side that was brought by them marrying their second wives.
And when
What happened to David because of going
He became the father of King Solomon.
No, was God happy immediately? Was God happy with the act? Solomon had no sin in the act of David and the other woman.
Let me tell you.
Solomon had no sin because of that.
You see, the point is not what happened there as a punishment. You know, the ending is always the one which counts.
No.
And the ending was good.
No, that
the ending was
that
good.
way.
Because the kid that was born from
It was just because of the mercies of God, but he was already angry with the kind of behavior.
And
God would not condemn them for the whole life.
By the way,
He still loves them.
all the champions in the Bible were polygamous.
Kunywa maji, sanitize hiyo maneno, mpatie maji ya sanitize hiyo maneno tafadhali.
Those men that were so favorite in the Bible, and by the way, God found it good to inspire his people to write so that we can be ready. Those champions, the champion of faith, the mighty king, the man after God's own heart.
The only thing you are not telling us. No, the only thing you are not telling us that God found it fit to write, it to be written for us to be inspired, but you're not telling us that it's also written the repercussions of their behavior.
I wanted this guy to tell me, Mr. Jacob, I want you to tell me one famous guy, apart from Jesus and he was born of the Holy Spirit, who became famous in the Bible and he was a monogamous.
Enoch. Yes. Enoch.
Another one.
Why do you need another
Noah.
one?
By the way, you are arguing to boost the ego. But I think, like, we should say it right here, that men who do certain things and mess up, even if they are married, should own up and take responsibility of what they do.
I want
That should be the discussion.
Well, this is my conclusion.
Yes.
If these guys were okay, if the repercussions you are trying to bring about were anything to go by, I think whoever, the writers of the Bible, would not put it in the Bible so that we can be reading. Because now I am justified to get another woman.
No.
And still remain a king.
The writers knew that you had free will. You would decide that you would. Lazima kuonyesha hivi ndio side baya, ukifanya hivi itakuwa namna hii. Otherwise God tells you there is life and death. Choose. No, wait. God actually says, God says there is life and death. But he again says choose life. But he does not tell you that you cannot choose death.
Exactly.
He allows you. If you choose death,
but
you already know.
Polygamy does not make you.
Nimesema vizuri haikuandikwa hapo kwa Bible tusisome hata wewe ukigugu story ya the first wife of Adam.
Basi haikuwa hapo ndio tusome.
And by the way, are you aware that the Bible was edited and even some books were removed?
Yes, because God saw it was not necessary for mankind.
It wasn't God who removed. It was man who removed to fit their thinking. The way Mr. Jacob,
when were those
the
Bible? I mean, when were those books removed?
They were removed.
When were they removed?
They were, in fact, they were. Have you ever read the Catholic Bible?
Yes, I know there is Maccabees and whatever.
And zingine zimerudishwa hivi juzi, wameona hizi vitu hatungeondoa, wamerudisha. Lakini yule mtu anasoma ile Bible ya kitambo, hajasoma
but my friend, if you even rationally look at things, polygamy, we have a lot of messes and problems because of that. And
we have a lot of kings out of polygamy.
No, you can't say that.
And by the way, if I may ask you, are you marrying many wives because it's out of love?
Are you trying to form a kingdom?
It's a bad
I want children.
No, you already said it last.
Get one who will give you all the children.
No.
Nimekamilishia huyu.
Ukasema unaoa kwa sababu ya
last, not love.
What if you find
so
one
do you
who
take
can
last
give you all the
positively?
children in the world?
Yes.
Will you take a second one?
If she can give me the
Yes.
children.
You say 7 children. And she's
12.
So did you answer? You have said.
No, I have not considered.
You said you are marrying many for last.
For last.
And you know last is last is a
I've
vice.
preempted her point.
No,
I know where she was headed.
No. It tells us you know the truth at the back. No. It means you know the truth at the back of your mind.
In another thing, there is this man who will marry 3 wives or 2, but he's not responsible enough.
For us to
He can't pay for the school fees. He can't bring the food.
Actually, the Bible does not even commend men who cannot provide for their family, even for monogamous. Even monogamous, the Bible says, if a man cannot provide for their family,
He's not.
you understand? There is something the Bible says about that.
Ninasema hivi, kusema nimeoa polygamous does not automatically mean that I will be responsible. It doesn't automatically mean that I will be. Na yeye amesema whether in a monogamy or a polygamy, and you are not responsible. So anybody irresponsible is not fit to be a man.
Yes.
All right? But if you can marry 100 wives and get 200 children, then so be it. Endelea.
Hakuna kitu kama hiyo.
Tunauliza, what is God saying about you loving your wife? You've said you cannot love 100 women the same way.
And you already accepted.
Where is it recorded in the Bible?
No, wait, you already said you don't care.
Because
a man shall marry 1 wife. I don't remember.
It is First Corinthians. It is First Corinthians chapter 7, and it was Paul who was speaking to the church in Corinth, telling them. And do you know why he was writing that? It is because they had written a letter to him to ask about the same, the way you are asking. Yeah? Lakini pale mwisho verse 6. Tusome verse 6. Si mko na Bible? Si mko na Bible? You know, a discussion as important as this needs a Bible.
That's okay.
Yeah?
It
It is verse 6, yeah? Inasema hivi, I say this as a concession, not as a command. Alright? So by saying so, it is because he wanted to leave a room for you or for the other person.
That is First Corinthians.
First Corinthians chapter 7 verse 6. Ukisoma hapo mwanzo utasikia hivi. Do not deprive each other. No, verse 1. Who has a Bible? Where is the Bible?
Read even verse 2.
Mine is starting at verse
Begin from verse 1.
Verse 5. In answer verse 5.
Answer verse 1.
Wacha niende verse. Wacha nikota.
And listen to the closing remark.
Let me tell you. Let me see.
No, don't read first from verse 1.
Nataka kusoma. Unajua, you might think because someone is talking about being a polygamy, ajui Biblia.
I think also read it.
You have it?
Let me read it.
You can.
Let me read it.
Usome mpaka verse 6.
Haina maneno.
Thank you, Sakwana Bible.
So, no problem, we have Bibles in the